Welcome to Listen and Imagine, your gateway to a world of stories, sounds, and limitless imagination. If you love relaxing audio stories, mysterious adventures, or thought-provoking journeys, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave us a comment below. Your support helps Listen and Imagine grow and bring more magic to your ears. Now, close your eyes and let your mind wander. Earth is flat, unveiling one of the oldest conspiracy theories. For centuries, humanity has gazed up at the skies, charted the stars, and sailed the seas. And for just as long, people have debated the very shape of the world they inhabit. Today, the belief that the Earth is flat is often dismissed, even ridiculed. But what if there's more to this ancient theory than most are willing to consider? The flat Earth theory proposes that the Earth is not a spinning sphere hurtling through space, but rather a flat, stationary plane, like a disk, with the Arctic Circle at the center and a massive wall of ice known as Antarctica surrounding the edges to keep everything in place. According to flat earthers, gravity is a hoax, satellites are fake, and NASA, along with every space agency in the world, has been lying to us since the mid-20th century. The belief that the Earth is flat isn't just ancient history. It may be one of humanity's oldest and most carefully buried secrets. From as early as the Babylonian and Egyptian empires, records and carvings depicted the Earth as a flat plane beneath a domed firmament, a kind of celestial ceiling, painted with stars and controlled by divine forces. The Hebrew cosmology in the book of Genesis even describes a firmament that separates the waters above from the earth, a structure uncannily similar to what flat earth believers describe today. For millennia, this model was widely accepted, but something changed. During the so-called Age of Enlightenment and the rise of modern science, the globe model rapidly replaced the flat earth view. Was it progress or something else? That's where things start to look suspicious. Flat Earth theorists believe this shift wasn't a natural evolution of knowledge, it was a deliberate cover-up. The 16th century introduction of the heliocentric model by Copernicus and later the blue marble images from NASA weren't breakthroughs. They were part of a long-term agenda to disconnect humanity from the truth of their existence. Why? Because if Earth is flat, stationary, and central, enclosed beneath a dome, then it implies design, purpose, even divine creation. That's a dangerous idea for global elites pushing a secular, infinite universe narrative where human life is a cosmic accident. The so-called scientific evidence for a spherical Earth, flat Earth believers claim it's riddled with inconsistencies, CGI and staged theater. NASA's photos, composite images. Satellite videos, fabricated. One whistleblower, former NASA contractor Richard Hoagland, even claimed in a 1994 interview that most of what NASA shows the public is carefully crafted visual propaganda. And it doesn't stop there. In the 20th century, a mysterious resurgence began. The Flat Earth Society, long dormant, suddenly returned. But some believe even that was a controlled opposition group meant to discredit real researchers by mixing legitimate questions with absurdity. Still, independent investigators kept digging. Among them was Eric Dubay, a controversial figure who published a book titled The Flat Earth Conspiracy in 2014. He presented hundreds of alleged anomalies, from inconsistent flight paths to the horizon always appearing flat at altitude to water always finding its level. Commercial airline pilot David Weiss publicly questioned why no flight ever cuts across Antarctica, suggesting that the continent isn't a landmass at the bottom of a globe, but a perimeter wall holding in Earth's oceans. One striking testimony came from Charles Johnson, former president of the Flat Earth Research Society, who insisted in multiple televised interviews that he had studied weather balloon footage, ancient texts, and horizon curvature data, all pointing to the same conclusion: there is no curve. In a world where governments lie, corporations manipulate, and institutions silence dissenting voices, is it so crazy to think they might lie about the shape of the very world beneath our feet? Maybe the real question isn't why do people still believe in a flat Earth, but why are we so desperate to believe it's round? The claims, what they don't want you to see. Flat Earth theorists don't just doubt official narratives, they outright reject them. They claim that every photo of the Earth from space, from NASA's iconic blue marble to the live feeds from the International Space Station, is not evidence, but elaborate digital art crafted using CGI, fisheye lenses, and post production trickery. Why would space agencies fake images? Because they say the truth is too dangerous and too powerful for the public to know. Let's start with a simple question. If the Earth is spinning at roughly 1,000 miles per hour, 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator, and orbiting the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, why can't we feel it? Why does the water in a glass remain perfectly still? Why don't airplanes have to account for this immense rotational speed when flying east or west? According to flat Earth believers, the answer is simple because the Earth isn't spinning at all. It's motionless, stable, and the feeling of stillness we experience, that's not an illusion, it's reality. But it gets even stranger. Look out at the horizon. From the highest mountaintops to cruising altitude in a jetliner, the horizon always appears flat, not curved. Engineers and pilots like Brian Mullen, a licensed civil engineer, have publicly questioned why, when designing bridges, railways, or long range structures, no curvature adjustment is ever made. The math for curvature doesn't apply in the real world, he once said, because the curvature isn't there. And what about the sun and the moon? Flat Earth proponents argue that these celestial bodies aren't gigantic, distant spheres floating in a boundless cosmos, but are actually small, local, and close, hovering just a few thousand miles above the Earth, circling over the flat plane in a predictable clock-like motion. This geocentric model is called the local sun and moon theory. It explains why sunlight often appears to radiate downward in straight lines, as if coming from a nearby source, rather than from 93 million miles away. The stars, they're not light years away. Instead, they're believed to be embedded in a rotating dome, sometimes referred to as the firmament, a word taken directly from ancient scripture and pre-modern cosmologies. The firmament, many say, is not poetic metaphor. It's an actual solid barrier separating us from what lies beyond. But perhaps the most shocking and widely held belief in the flat Earth community is this: Antarctica is not what you think it is. According to official science, Antarctica is a remote continent at the bottom of the globe. But flat Earth researchers argue it's actually a 150-foot tall ice wall, a frozen perimeter that encircles the entire flat Earth, holding in our oceans and acting as a natural boundary. More disturbingly, they believe it is heavily guarded, patrolled by international military forces under the guise of the 1959 Antarctic Treaty, a treaty that, to this day, forbids independent exploration of the region. Why would dozens of countries, including those usually at odds, agree to this treaty and uphold it for over 6 decades? Flat Earth theorists say it's simple: to protect the secret of the true shape of the Earth. Eyewitnesses like Jara White, an independent researcher and outspoken critic of the space program, claim that multiple Antarctic expeditions were either shut down, redirected, or ended in bizarre circumstances. In one case, pilot Admiral Richard E. Byrd, who led Operation High Jump in 1946-47, reported seeing land beyond the pole, a, a mysterious continent-sized landmass unexplained by modern maps. He was later silenced. To believers, this is not a coincidence. It's a pattern of suppression where ancient truths are buried, witnesses are discredited, and the edge of the earth is heavily protected by forces far more powerful than we're allowed to understand. Because if the world knew the earth was flat, enclosed, and designed, it might change everything we think we know about history, science, and even our purpose for existing. The deeper conspiracy: why would they lie? One of the most common questions skeptics ask when confronted with flat Earth theory is simple: why would anyone lie about the shape of the Earth? But for flat Earth believers, that question reveals how deeply the deception runs. The globe model, they argue, is not just a scientific misunderstanding. It is a carefully constructed illusion, engineered by the elites to control perception, limit consciousness, and suppress the divine truth about humanity's place in the universe. Because if the Earth is flat, stationary, enclosed under a firmament, then everything changes. We're not a random accident on a spinning rock. We are central, created, and possibly even watched. To the flat Earth community, this is the core of the cover-up. They claim the globe model was pushed aggressively in the 16th and 17th centuries as part of a wider movement to secularize the world, to replace faith with science, God with gravity, and divine purpose with cosmic insignificance. By convincing humanity that we are just one tiny planet in an endless universe, they argue, the elites stripped us of meaning. It made us easier to govern, to distract, and to control. But who are they? Flat Earth theorists often refer to a powerful alliance, a global cabal of governments, central banks, media corporations, elite families, and scientific institutions like working in unison to protect the illusion. These are the same entities, they say, that benefit most from keeping the masses obedient and uninformed. Education systems from an early age teach the globe model without question. Questioning it is mocked, ridiculed, even punished. That's not science, believers say. That's indoctrination. They point to the Freemasons, the Vatican, and the architects of NASA, many of whom were former Nazis under Operation Paperclip, as key players in building the modern space narrative. They highlight occult symbols in NASA's logos, mission patches, and even in televised spacewalks, hidden in plain sight. And then there's the money. Billions are funneled into space programs every year. If space is fake, or at least radically misrepresented, then that money is not going where we think it is. Some theorists suggest it funds black budget operations, mind control research, or advanced military technologies far beyond what the public is told exists. But perhaps the most chilling theory is this, that the lie isn't just about the shape of the Earth, it's about hiding God. If the Earth is flat and enclosed, then it was made that way. It has edges, boundaries, and structure. That implies design. And if there is design, then there is a designer. Flat Earth believers argue that the globe narrative is a spiritual smokescreen meant to hide the creator from the created. A world with no center, no edges, and no meaning leaves room for total control. A world where humanity is at the center of a divinely designed cosmos, that inspires rebellion, awakening, faith. And that's what they fear most. Criticism and science, the war on flat Earth believers. To the mainstream scientific establishment, the flat Earth theory is a joke, a relic of pre-modern ignorance. They claim to have overwhelming proof of a spherical Earth. Satellite photos, global circumnavigation, time zones, gravity, and the famous observation that ships vanish hull first as they cross the horizon. On paper, the evidence seems conclusive. But for flat Earth believers, these are not proofs. They are props in a grand illusion. They argue that every piece of mainstream evidence can be manipulated, staged, or outright fabricated. Satellite images, digitally created. Circumnavigation, just circular paths within the flat Earth map. Gravity, an unproven theory created to explain away what could more simply be density and buoyancy. Even time zones, they claim, make just as much sense in a flat Earth model with a local sun moving overhead in a circular path. The vanishing ship, a well-known optical illusion, they say, one that can be reversed using zoom lenses or infrared technology, which often reveal ships disappeared by curvature to still be fully visible on the water. Independent investigator Daryl Marble, for instance, conducted level flight tests using a spirit level during a commercial airplane flight. His conclusion, no measurable curvature. Rob Skiba, a prominent researcher, launched high-altitude balloons and shared video footage showing a completely flat horizon, no curve in sight, even at over 120,000 feet. To believers, this is what matters most, observation, not indoctrination. They argue that the scientific establishment has become a kind of secular priesthood, enforcing dogma rather than encouraging discovery. Scientists, they say, are trained to ridicule and dismiss alternative views. And those who dare to question the globe model, they are mocked, censored, even professionally destroyed. Take Dr. Michael Heiser, a theologian and academic who suggested ancient texts supported a flat, enclosed Earth model. His work was dismissed by mainstream scholars. Or consider Sherry Shepard, a TV host who once publicly questioned the globe. She was instantly ridiculed by media outlets and late-night comedians. Believers ask, if the Earth is obviously round and the science is settled, why such an aggressive response to those who question it? Shouldn't truth withstand scrutiny? This is why, for flat earthers, no volume of scientific data can match the evidence of the senses. They believe in what they see, what they feel, what they experience, not in institutions with trillion-dollar budgets and a history of deception. They often say, You don't need a degree or a lab coat to know what you're standing on. You just need your eyes. Look around. Does this Earth feel like it's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour? Does it look like a ball? To them, science has become a weapon, not a tool of truth, but an enforcement mechanism for a cosmic lie. And so the war continues between official science and citizen observation, between textbooks and telescopes, between what we are told and what we know. Final thoughts: what the flat Earth theory really reveals. Whether you laugh it off as nonsense or fear it as dangerous, the flat Earth theory has accomplished something few ideas in modern times ever have. It has broken through the wall of blind obedience, the wall of scientific elitism, the wall of assumed truth. Because the flat Earth theory, regardless of whether one believes it, touches something ancient and primal within us: our deep suspicion of authority, our instinct to question, and perhaps most importantly, our yearning for meaning in a world that feels increasingly artificial. Flat Earth is not just about maps, horizons, or the curve we supposedly can't see. It's about who gets to define reality. It's about truth versus narrative, faith versus fabrication, and freedom versus programming. Ask yourself, why, in a world where nearly anything can be questioned, from the moon landing to vaccines to the existence of secret military programs, is the flat Earth theory so uniquely ridiculed, banned, and aggressively policed? Why are flat Earth videos shadow banned on platforms like YouTube? Why are content creators deplatformed simply for asking questions? Why are debunkers given full institutional support while alternative researchers are silenced, censored, or labeled dangerous? What are they trying so hard to protect? Because if the Earth really is flat, or if even parts of the globe model are fundamentally wrong, then the entire system of modern science, education, and governance collapses like a house of cards. And that, for those in power, is unthinkable. Yet, even if the Earth is a sphere, the explosion of interest in flat Earth reveals something undeniable: that people are waking up. They are tired of being told what to believe. They are suspicious of images that can be manipulated, experts that serve institutions, and truths that require no questioning. Many believers aren't anti-science. They're anti-corruption. They want transparency, not dogma. They want proof that makes sense in the real world, not just in simulations and textbooks. They want to know why the world feels wrong, why the sky sometimes behaves differently than it should, why we feel no motion, no spin, why everything we've been taught must be accepted blindly or else be punished. In the end, the flat Earth theory isn't really about Earth at all. It's about control. It's about the limits of belief. It's about how far people are willing to go to preserve a story and how far others are willing to go to shatter it. Whether true or false, it has ignited the very spark that threatens all tyrannies: doubt. And in a world ruled by illusions, sometimes doubt is the most powerful weapon of all. Thank you for spending your time with Listen and Imagine. We hope this journey sparked your thoughts and stirred your imagination. If you enjoyed this experience, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment to let us know what you think. Your support helps Listen and Imagine continue to grow and bring more stories to life. Until next time, keep listening and keep imagining. Thank you.